Chapter 1: Phasing in and out of a false reality. Before I can begin to share with you the issues of my upbringing, there is something that needs to be made clear. Growing up in foster care was like trying to build a house on shifting sand. Without a solid foundation, I couldn't possibly stand firmly. In my case, it was 21 years of exposure to the system. When you are exposed to something for that long, some of this stuff gets cemented into your psyche. For me, there was always a deficit in structure, stability, and credible guidance based on a lack of understanding of where I was physically and emotionally. Imagine being on a boat in the middle of a stormy sea, with no anchor and no lighthouse to guide you. That's what it felt like. My basic sense of identity was adrift, and I believed that no one could possibly understand the turmoil inside me. When I was a child, counseling was unheard of, empathy a fleeting luxury, and active listening non-existent. I was a damaged child. Most people tiptoed around the real issues, afraid that addressing them would either upset me or themselves. It was as if my pain was a soap bubble, too fragile to touch, if ever noticed at all. People's inability to master dishonesty, discomfort, or feelings of helplessness was striking. They silently dismissed or didn't believe at all in my ability to recognize how my presence impacted them. My visible and invisible discomfort made them uneasy, and therefore, I couldn't trust them to really care for me because in my mind, I was the cause. These deficiencies had a profound impact on my identity. In fact, they were often in direct conflict with the ever-developing identities of those around me. My foster parents, for instance, were caught in a paradox. They wanted to be seen as capable and able to solve any issues that arose within me, while maintaining strict control of their parental responsibilities. They had 2 biological sons and 4 foster children. 6 young lives under their care, looking to them for individualized attention. The truth of the matter was, they could barely deal with their own limitations. Their need to appear and feel competent and in control often overshadowed the need or awareness to provide distinctive, individualized connection and understanding. Caseworkers were another layer of complexity. They were substantially unprepared and undertrained to deal with the psychosocial issues intertwined with childhood loss and trauma. Their primary focus always seemed to be on placement stabilization. They often appeared out of place in our limited interactions, which interrupted the shaping of an environment for trust building. Long-lasting placement overshadowed the assurance of well-being. It never felt like they were there for me, and therefore, important information was kept secret so that the chaos I knew would not be replaced by the chaos I did not know. Teachers, peers, and adults outside the foster care system often lowered their expectations of me once they became aware of my situation. Whether out of misunderstanding or pity, their diminished expectations only deepened my sense of isolation. In many ways, I was a victim, but those who were part of my evolution responding to me as such was disabling. I became acutely aware of the differences in the treatment my peers received from others, the complications and stressors of being part of a foster family, and the physical and cognitive differences of the people who were part of my family. These constant reminders made me feel like a temporary visitor in my own life, a stranger in a supposedly familiar place. The sense of being an outsider was worsened by the lack of permanency in my life. Without a stable and believable source of security, I was left to navigate my journey alone. The dismissive behavior towards my intentions and needs only made the foundation for my identity more unstable. There were moments when I desperately wished for someone to see beyond the surface, to invest time in understanding the real me. But those moments were rare and lived in my fantasies or remained hidden behind my fear. People around me were content to maintain the status quo, to keep the waters calm rather than to dive into the depths of my reality. It was an isolated path, one where I focused more on the things I understood, like the gaps between me and the rest of the world, rather than on the bridges that could have been built. Identity formation is a crucial part of growing up. It's the process through which we come to understand ourselves, our values, and our place in the world. For most children, this journey is supported by a stable environment, consistent guidance, and a sense of belonging. But in foster care, the lack of or inconsistency of these elements makes healthy identity formation an uphill battle. My identity was not only shaped by my experiences, but also by the constant need to adapt to new environments and people, while trying to develop a sense of belonging. This, you might imagine, made it difficult to develop a stable and healthy sense of self. During this chaotic journey, my own identity felt like a puzzle with missing pieces. Each deficit in structure and stability, every instance of mislabeled intentions, and the constant reminder of my differences contributed to an unstable base from which I had to develop. I yearned for a sense of belonging, for someone to genuinely listen, for someone to understand, and answers to how my existence in this situation came to be. But in the world of foster care, these needs often go unmet, leaving me to find my way through the solitary darkness. As I reflect on those years, I remember a child who was searching for stability, a child who needed not just a house to live in, but a home and a community to belong to. And while the journey was fraught with challenges, it also shaped the person I am today. The difficulties and struggles became a part of my story, a testament to the resilience it took to navigate a path that was anything but stable. Yet, it is this very journey, with all its trials and tribulations, that can forge a unique strength and resilience if nurtured properly. As I continue to piece together my identity, I carry with me the lessons learned from a turbulent past, determined to build a future where I can stand firm, rooted in the understanding of who I am and where I come from.